Brussels 2026. Behind the closed doors of the world's most powerful bureaucracy, the rule of law has just been replaced by something much older and more sinister. In the last few years, we've watched an institutional collapse. From suitcases full of cash in Qatargate to the mysterious SMS for vaccinations that wasted billions. And now, the real bomb dropped. The Epstein files. 3 million pages of receipts that revealed so much more than just the crimes of the US elite. They also proved that Europe's so-called architects of peace were living a double life as private consultants for a convicted financier. But how was this possible? If these are some of the smartest, most vetted diplomats on the planet, how do bad actors like the American predator manage to turn leaders of the European Union into personal proxies? To understand this, we have to look past the surface. Beyond greed, there's something deeper at play, a fundamental weakness of the human psyche. And the world's most dangerous people have always known exactly how to exploit and rig the system in their favor. For this video, we followed exactly that paper trail. We went deep into the investigations that toppled ambassadors, prime ministers, and even international envoys. And what we found will blow your mind. By the end of this video, you will know what really happened behind the scenes and how you can even profit from this madness. If you are from Europe like me, you've been told for years that the leaders of the European Union are the ultimate meritocrats, the best suited, most talented people from any of the 27 member states. But this isn't entirely true. Sometimes coming from the right place can be enough. This is the College of Europe, located in a small, picturesque town in Belgium called Bruges. It serves as the breeding ground for the European political elite. If you want a job in the European Commission or the diplomatic service, then this is your school. Inside these walls, you aren't just studying policy, you're living it. You will meet future ministers, ambassadors, and bankers, the most powerful people of tomorrow. But in this small world, a shared university degree doesn't just equal some time spent together. No, it means a lifelong bond that will change everything. It starts small, with closed-door internships that are never posted on public job boards. And then, the stakes rise. Suddenly, you're at a graduation gala, shaking hands with the King of Spain. Being told you aren't just a student, no, you are a custodian of the future. But the real shift happens during alumni retreats, where the next decades of European policy is debated over wine before it ever reaches an official committee. Throughout this entire journey, these future leaders are not learning how to serve the public. They are learning how to take care of one another. In academic circles, this small world dynamic is known as institutional favoritism. It's the process of internalizing a simple, dangerous truth, that being on the inside matters more than anything else. But we don't need to stay in the world of theory to understand how this destroys the entire system. You see, while preparing this video, we were originally thinking of tracing the career trajectories of all College of Europe graduates. But sometimes the headlines, they just write themselves. Federica Mogherini was the High Representative of the EU for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, the literal face of European global power. In 2020, she was appointed the Rector of the College of Europe. During her rise, her right hand was a man named Stefano Sannino, her former Deputy Secretary General. They weren't just colleagues, they were one coordinated unit. While Mogherini took over the breeding grounds, Sannino stayed behind in the institutional machine. The problem? Master and student decided to bypass every firewall the EU has in place. Investigators from the European Public Prosecutor's Office uncovered something disturbing, a €654,000 lender for a new diplomatic academy. It was supposed to be an open, fair competition, but the paper trail suggests the game was rigged before it even began. In fact, Sannino is accused of handing Mogherini confidential access to the selection rules before the public even knew the tender existed. While Mogherini could have claimed an administrative error, this is not the end of it. Forensic audits recently revealed that the college actually purchased a building in Bruges for €3.2 million to house these new students before they had even won the contract. You don't spend €3 million on a maybe. By late 2025, both Mogherini and Sannino were forced out, facing accusations of procurement fraud and breach of professional secrecy. Now, in the interest of transparency, neither of them actually graduated from the college. But Mogherini was chosen to be the face of this institution, because she embodied the values it stands for. Now, 5 years later after her appointment, it's fair to assume that she steered the school culture. And just as they say a fish rots from the head, we can conclude that she made favoritism a part of the school's operating model. But make no mistake, this isn't just about one building or one rigged contract. The real question is, if existing structures are strong enough to make these individuals literally break the law and risk their career to help an old friend with a real estate deal, then what are these people willing to do for seats at even more exclusive tables? In the world of high-stakes diplomacy, there's a currency more valuable than any US dollar or euro, and more stable than gold. You won't find it on any stock exchange, and it's never recorded on the balance sheet. But it's the secret engine that runs the world. To understand what it is and why it's so dangerous, we have to dive deep into how the elite operate on a day-to-day basis. Let's look at the POV of Børge Brende, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway, steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group, and now president of the World Economic Forum. You are arguably one of the most powerful, unelected officials on earth, and you spend your days hosting presidents, kings, and CEOs in Davos, Switzerland. In public, you are a global leader, but in your private life, the power balance is actually flipped. Suddenly, you are the one seeking approval. But from who? So, between 2013 and 2019, Brende's world became entangled with Jeffrey Epstein. We aren't just talking about a casual meeting or a coffee, we're talking about Brende staying in Epstein's townhouse for days straight, coordinating global institutional strategies from inside the house. At one point, they were even discussing a plan for the WEF to effectively replace the United Nations in certain global functions. The dynamic of the relationship between the WEF CEO and the already convicted felon is further revealed via their 120 messages. And in one of them, the nature of their connection becomes more than obvious. The president of the WEF signs off with 3 words that reveal their entire game. Missing you, sir. How could that happen? One way to explain this is outlined in the book The Status Game by William Storr. Within the book, the British journalist and TEDx speaker explains that we are all victims of tribe mechanisms. Our brains are biologically hardwired to seek status within our chosen group. Now, for the 0.001%, the tribe mechanism isn't money. They all have plenty already, including our former Norwegian minister. Instead, it's about access. And access has become incredibly important. Private clubs and closed-door events are how the small world we saw in Bruges scales up to a global shadow network. Epstein didn't need to blackmail these people, he just needed to make them feel a little special. He provided the access to a very important club as the host of the hottest parties with the best guests. And the tastiest pizza. Being there feels like a sudden injection of opportunities. A power-up. In exchange for the power-up, you help with a few small favors. A recommendation here, a signature there. And as the relationship carries on, the higher the price you pay to stay in that room, the more you value the invitation. Once you are long enough inside the social circle, your psychology literally changes. You stop asking, is this legal or is this ethical? Instead, you start asking the most dangerous question in the human psyche. How do I stay in? Driven by the desire to be accepted and gain influence in the group, the power-up quickly becomes an addiction. More injections and a higher dosage. But once this point is reached, the injection reveals its secret. It's not a normal injection, but a hook. And we all know the truth about hooks. They aren't enough to kill you, but they never let you go. And pulling them out is hurtful. Inside the group, peer pressure keeps you on the line and slowly turns you from an innocent member into a bystander. Or worse, even a contributor. To the crimes, of course. And even if you still have morals at this point, rationalization and cognitive dissonance will soon do the rest. And the rare deviators are dealt with swiftly, because once you try to pull away, the tribe strikes back with denunciation. The same people who toasted your success yesterday will be the ones to trigger the public scandals that end your career. But this isn't just abstract psychology. In the landmark study Ordinary Man, published in February 1993, historian Christopher Browning identifies exactly the same factors as drivers that transformed normal middle-aged people into ruthless killing machines. There was no innate evil, there was just the crushing weight of tribal conformity and the fear of social exile. You might think, that's extreme, Mace. It's 2026, we're educated, we're immune to these psychological games. Well, if that's the case, if we're so prepared, let's look at the behavior of the allegedly best among us. This is Thorbjørn Jagland, former Prime Minister of Norway and former head of the Council of Europe, a public guardian of human rights. Yet, despite his role, he was found staying at Epstein's Palm Beach resort while seeking personal property loans. Or, let's look at him. Terje Larsen, a top UN diplomat and former president of the International Peace Institute. This role model allegedly accepted a $100,000 loan from Epstein just to maintain the high society lifestyle he obviously could never afford on a public salary. The important detail, these weren't naive college students or barely educated ordinary men. These were the high priests of the international order, and they still fell for the illusion. At some point, every Epstein client realizes the power up was never free. Epstein didn't just host you, he invested in you. And similar to the private loans he extended to his Norwegian friends, he eventually came to collect the debts. When the collector finally knocks, you realize the longer you stay, the higher the ransom for your reputation and autonomy. Which begs the question, what is the market value for repaying the tribe? To find an answer, we have to travel back to the year 2009 and look at the man British press used to call the Prince of Darkness, Peter Mandelson. By 2009, the world was on fire. The global financial system was melting down and the British government was secretly preparing a massive taxpayer-funded lifeboat to save the banks. This was market-sensitive information of the highest order. If you knew the details of the bailouts before the public, you didn't just have a secret. You had a money-printing machine. While the public was being told to brace for impact, Mandelson, the UK's business secretary and EU commissioner, was about to repay a social debt. Years earlier, between 2003 and 2004, a friend had allegedly funneled $75,000 into Mandelson's orbit. While the reasons remained shadowed for years, the 2026 reveals finally confirmed the identity of that friend. A familiar face, Jeffrey Epstein. The return favor for that investment was finally called in during the height of the crash. Investigative files reveal that while serving as business secretary, Mandelson allegedly leaked confidential details regarding bank bailouts and bankers' bonuses directly to Epstein. At the time, Epstein wasn't just a socialite, he was a consultant for JP Morgan. But the paper trail suggests that the betrayal went even deeper. Mandelson allegedly provided inside intelligence on the Prime Minister's resignation and even suggested, and I quote, mildly threatening the Chancellor regarding the attractive sale of RBS assets to JP Morgan. As the UK had to fund a rescue package of nearly $1.8 trillion, the public faced years of austerity and the average taxpayer got robbed. The tribe, on the other hand, was able to hedge its bets and profit. In fact, while the rest of the banking sector was bleeding out, JP Morgan's stock rose 33% in that year. It thrived, with profits doubling to $11.7 billion in the crisis-ridden year of 2009. Coming back to our initial question, while the exact value of these backroom tips is buried in the noise of a global collapse, the benefit was worth billions. If Epstein taught us just one thing, it's that laws aren't just rules, they are market signals. And nothing beats an advance notice for the next move by the government. Which brings us to the ultimate question. If a shadow broker could turn mere access into billions, how much is being made right now by the people who actually write our laws? Who is the most successful investor you've never heard of? Thank you for watching until here. This video has been a lot of work and we would need your help to keep producing. We are a new channel and focus on exposing corruption globally and in the European Union. If you want more people to become aware of the corruption issues in our societies, please subscribe and give us a hype. We like to believe in the rule of law. We tell ourselves it's a shield for the public, but the 2026 fallout has revealed a much darker truth. For the elite, the rule of law is just a brand name used to hide the rule of the tribe. The elite doesn't play by our rules. While the public follows the crowd like sheep, the tribe is placing well-timed bets on the very policies they are writing behind closed doors. They aren't market geniuses. They are just unfairly altering the future before you are allowed to see it. And recent data makes one thing very clear. The tribe is preparing for another move. The war will not stay limited to the Middle East, and we will all start to feel its consequences soon. To survive and thrive throughout the next years, stop listening to what they say and start watching what they do. Start tracking their speeches, analyze their committee assignments, and most importantly, follow the money. At Wolf of Washington, we help you do exactly that. We track every stock trade made by members of Congress in real time. With over 400,000 entries and growing in our database, we spot the most relevant patterns before the rest of the market even wakes up. Right now, we are seeing the tribe aggressively moving into specific assets. You can choose to be the public that pays the bill or the investor who reads the signal. In a world built on manipulation, transparency is the only safety net. On this channel, we work to expose the dirty secrets of the elite and the architecture of the shadow bureaucracy. And by the way, I am not suicidal and I'm very attentive around balconies. If you want to support our work, please give this video a hype or subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching. Click the link down below or go to wolfofwashington.io to start following the tribe.